In that sense, welcome to the practice today. I've prepared 2 blocks. There's a very simple reason for that. The cushions will do as well. And I've placed a blanket already over my mat, just to get ready to move directly from here. So having said that, let's come and start. I would ask you to come into a variation of child's pose. And while it's down the facing hero and the knees are wide, I still often hear that described as a wide-legged child's pose. So oftentimes that is more comfortable to open the knees out. If it is for you, you can have your knees closed too. And then starting to lean a little bit forward. Now today, I would ask you to turn the palms of your hands upwards, resting the forearms down. So you could stay here in that lightly crouched position, but perhaps it's nice to rest the head. So if you feel like resting the head, perhaps placing a block underneath the forehead. If you don't enjoy that, that's fine too. You could also extend your arms further and let your head come down towards the floor. So in any case, shuffle around, get movement going in the body, even if it is the subtle movement. As we come right from standing to this kneeling or child's pose, you might need little movement through your spine, around your pelvis, even your toes. Not sure what's happening for you. Before you might be able to actually surrender to that form. So as you rest, palms of the hands looking upwards, eyes might be closed. And you could start just settling into the shape, but feeling into it. The child's pose in itself is quite an inward-oriented posture. And we're working with Anjali Mudra today. So the mudra, that is our hands touching in front of the chest. But there's variations thereof, and you're practicing one variation right now as you open the palms of your hands upwards, resting the hands like this. You might now create an awareness of what it is that you are ready to receive or ready to offer. And that might be very different for you in relation to perhaps what others are working on. When we think about Anjali Mudra, we also think about the prayer position. If you are opposed to that, no problem at all. You can keep it as a gesture of giving and receiving. But if you're feeling this way inclined, you might as well think about it as a prayer position, as a surrender to that is greater than us, the universe, God, the higher self, perhaps even involved. So whatever you believe in, just owning your belief and what it might mean for you. It could be that attitude of not expecting anything, of just surrendering to that land, or is being shared. Perhaps there's a lot of variety in your life right now. Maybe some opposites. And you could see them as well in the palms of your hands resting. So it is the opposite that you are working with right now. Or even just that you are offering. You might start to capture that within the palms of your hands as you close the hands towards Anjali Mudra. And for those of you that feel it's appropriate, you could start to bend your elbows and rest the prayed hands behind your head. Besides the focus, you might now experience some sensations around your arms and shoulders. Allow yourself a few more breaths where you might think about surrendering, not in a passive way, but in that way of accepting that there's opposites, that you might be ready to give, and that you might be ready to receive. Neither giving nor receiving needing a certain outcome. As you find your ease here, perhaps start to deepen your breath a little. Depending on the positioning of your legs, you might now notice that there's a breath that moves into your legs and perhaps out towards your back body. And as you take your next deeper breath in, and then on the out breath, releasing your prayer hand and starting to curl your spine up towards a seated position. Give your shoulders a lift and a gentle shrug back as you arrive in an upright and tall seated position. Taking a breath in to turn your head to the side and out to center it. In to turn the head to the other side and out to center it. See if you would like to drop the chin down towards your throat, or perhaps push it forward and raise it to the ceiling. Releasing your head into a neutral position and finding a wobbly movement. So just let your head move gently, exploring the sensations around your neck. For our next shape, I will start to use the blanket again, just folding it up once more and then coming into a seated position. If this seat isn't for you, you could even stay on your heels. If it is for you, you might land in an easy pose. As you sit here, take a deep breath in and reach your arms up overhead. On the out breath, then release your hands behind your back, interlacing the fingers. And then drawing your arms down the back while you're starting to lift your sternum forward, perhaps even your gaze. A deep breath in. And then on the out breath, starting to lean forward. I'm deliberately not saying folding because there's legs in the way. And your option is here to raise the arms away from the back, getting a bit more into the shoulders, upper body. As you gently release your hands back down onto the back, round your spine back up to a seated position. Take the hand opposite to the leg in front and bring it around to the leg and get a little twist. You might then gently lean forward over the bent knee. Curling back up through the spine as you rise to a seat. And if it is for you, changing your leg in front. A deep breath in to reach the arms back up. An out breath as you might find your interlace, but having the other fingers on top. Lengthening the arms down away from your back, the sternum might rise, your gaze might lift. A deep breath in. And on the out breath again, leaning forward. Arms can stay on the back if you prefer, or you might lift them off the back. Releasing your arms back down, starting to curl up through the spine. Taking the opposite hand out towards the knee and adding a light twist. Then coming back into the center as you release your arms out to each side. Now judging whether you are comfortable this way or whether you need the other leg in front, your choice. You could sit very differently if you preferred, as we take another breath in to raise the arms. And then joining the hands in Anjali Mudra in front of the chest. Leave your shoulders easy, elbows soft. The thumbs might lightly attach towards the sternum. You might lower your gaze now or close the eyes. And tune in with that connection of the palms touching together, perhaps that the thumb on the sternum. You brought together your two sides in union, and you're touching upon heart center. This is often where we believe that spark of the universe resides as well, bringing us a little bit closer, not just to the universe, but perhaps ourselves, the higher self. Keeping sensations and all in mind as you begin to take your breath into your belly, expand it up to the ribs and fill your lungs completely. And when breathing out, let your belly come back, the ribs release, the upper chest softens. So each breath flows in three parts: belly, ribs, collarbone, out, belly, ribs, collarbone. The pace of your breath is yours as you keep breathing in the three stages or three-part breath. If you are familiar with the Ujjayi technique, that can be added to this practice. Deep, full yogi breath. Last, a full breath coming up. When you finished your exhalation, simply pause and breathe naturally. Adding three chants of the sound Om, universal sound. If you feel it is up to you, of course, to chant this out aloud or follow silently. But as we begin, let's take the breath in for the first round. Perhaps you feel the resonation of the chanting, maybe even a vibration between the palms of your hands. Taking a breath in as you push the palms of your hands together, bring them a little bit closer. And as you exhale, press down to one side and allow that to twist you. On the inhale, come back to center, then push with the other hand as you're breathing out for another twist. Let's repeat that twice more to each side. Use one hand to push against the other to twist, while your hands are staying exactly where they were, just using that momentum to turn. If you're roughly in my pace, there's just one more to each side. Then when you come to the center, a breath in to reach the arms up and separate the hands. A breath out to release the hands down by the side. You might want to lift your knees up and perhaps lean a little bit back. You might even set your feet down onto the ground, reasonably comfortably leaning into your hands. The knees might sway now from side to side, getting a windscreen wiper movement going. And if your upper body and neck are in tune, you might start to turn these towards the other side. When you feel you've released the sitting tension, you might copy me and start to take your socks off. If you like to keep them nearby, please do. We will change from here into a standing position, hence I will also remove the blanket from the mat. We begin standing at the short front edge of the mat, whereas I will turn towards you at first. Stepping your feet to about shoulder distance apart and aligning the outer edges of your feet with each other or those of the mat. So I've got a wider stance now. Hands might gently rest upon your thighs, taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, attempt like a chair pose, knees bending, hips bending. Now your hands will come to the middle of your thighs and the fingers are pointing inward. I'd ask you to quite heavily lean down into your thighs. And as you breathe out, begin to round the spine into a cat. For the in-breath, start to lengthen the spine or even raise your tail and gaze. And for your out-breath, again, push into your thighs, deeply around the spine. Let's keep that flowing. Inhaling, neutral spine, or back bending. And out-breath is to round. Now, but you keep that movement going, allowing knees and hips to stay in the same bend, so that each movement is solidly supported by your legs and arms. As you might move, as you could now change the way you are moving. And you could start on your out breath to draw the tailbone under, round the spine, and then lower the head. And you could on your in-breath raise the tailbone, the head is low, open your belly, open your chest, and perhaps lifting the gaze. So you might now initiate the movement right from the tailbone, in-breath and out-breath, and let the head move as a very last. The movement might slow down a little bit, see how this feels. Just a couple more. Then pause in your next cat position and take a step back with the right foot. Soften into the right knee and take a breath in if your shoulders allow you to raise your arms up. With both knees bent, we're drawing the front hip ever so slightly backwards, finding a more solid stance. Palms of the hands, they might come together today if your shoulders allow you to, sticking with that theme of Anjali Mudra. However, shoulders aren't easy, keep the hands separate. Now, as you breathe out, draw the hands down to the heart center and deepen the stance in your lunge. For the in-breath, might you even extend the legs, reach your arms back up, touching or not. And exhaling, sinking back in. Let's repeat that 3 more breaths. Holding the last one right there, deep in your legs. A breath in and a breath out to release the hands to the floor and step the foot forward. Your feet might now be hip distance apart And as you breathe in, wave your spine up for a half lift, perhaps use fingertips against your legs to straighten the back. For the out breath, soften your knees and let your body fold forward again. The in breath, waving up to a half lift. The out breath to soften back down. Stay with the movement now, 3 more breaths here too. For the last round, again folding forward on your out breath, but then staying in the forward bend during the in breath and using pelvic floor, lower abdominals to uncurl on an out breath. You might reach your arms back up on the inhale and join hands back to Anjali Mudra and heart center on the exhale. Take a few breaths while you might encourage your inner heels toward each other, like in a mountain pose, only Samasthiti now. As you open your eyes, stepping your feet back to about shoulder distance and once more aligning the outer edges of the feet. Let your hands release back upon your thighs. A breath in. And on the out breath, begin to bend your knees and your hips. The hands sliding back to the middle of your thigh, the fingers turned inward. Keeping your spine long as you breathe in this time. And with your out breath, lower the right shoulder down into the center while lifting your left and perhaps even looking over the left shoulder. On your in breath, center your back. Left shoulder lowers on the out breath, looking perhaps over your right. So inhaling center, exhaling one shoulder down, turning over the other. Let's keep that flowing for a little while. Keep leaning down into your thighs quite heavily. And perhaps get that idea of how the vertebrae are moving with these twists. Well, we can't really isolate the movement here. When we go more mindful, you might be aware of that turn in the back. One more only to each side. When you complete it, you land back in your center, stepping your left foot back into a lunge, bending the left knee, and perhaps raising your arms up for a high lunge. Your choice to bring the hands back to touch or leave them apart if your shoulders require the space. Front hip is lightly drawing back for a solid stand on both legs. And on your next out, by drawing your hands down towards heart center and perhaps the thumbs rest lightly to the sternum. Nothing in your legs has changed, but you might deepen the stance a little. Let's move between the two. On the in-breath, could you extend your legs and your arms? And on the out-breath, sinking deep into the legs and hands, returning to heart center, completing Anjali Mudra. So a breath in to lengthen, and a breath out to deepen. We'll work with this for 3 more breaths. And when you land in your last round, whenever that is, pause. Breathing in and out to release the hands down to the floor. Stepping the foot back towards the front feet parallel. Take an inhale, wave back up to waterfall. While you breathe out, fold forward again to stay here for a little while. You might allow your fingertips to stay on the floor. You could have your hands on your feet on blocks. Give the shoulders a little lift so there's length coming through the neck. And allow knees to be a bit soft while leaning your weight forward. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. You might even allow your eyes to be open as you look through in between your legs. Upside down view. On the exhalation, beginning again to uncurl the spine towards standing. Take shoulders up with you as you breathe in. Raise the arms to the center and bring the hands back down to meet in Anjali Mudra in front of your chest. Let's release the arms for a moment. Standing with feet comfortably apart and aligned in a mountain pose. Inner heels active toward each other. Kind of getting the sense as if someone's pulling on the crown of the head with the strength, making us stand tall, yet supported from the floor. We've done a few movements. Let's drop back into the three-part breath. Belly expanding to ribs and collarbone. You might even keep this slower way of breathing flowing as you let your hands come upon your hips. Open the eyes and find a steady gazing point somewhere down in front. Shifting weight to the left foot, lifting the right knee. And then extending the leg back and pointing your big toe down to the ground, but a bit out to hip distance. And then if it's available, starting to land the whole foot while you bend into your front knee. If your stance is good here, your hips feel the same. If not, widen your stance a little. Let's draw the feet inwards to find more solid stance. And you could from there raise your arms up, completing your warrior one. And the same options here, you could touch palms or have your hands separate. Up to you. Your foundation here is much more important as you keep your feet drawing inwards to get that extra lift and strength for the warrior shape. Breathe in here. And with the out breath, then joining the hands together in front of the chest. I'm aware we've done this before, but it's kind of very valuable to practice stepping. So while you keep yourself here upright, lean a little bit more weight into your front foot so the knee might bend a bit more. And then on an out breath, push the floor away and see if you can stand with your feet next to each other without wobbling. Many adjustments. The first round will be challenging. Let's step back forward, same foot. Finding our warrior stance with Anjali at the heart. Leaning into the front foot, a breath out, push the floor away, and see if you can come to stand with much less movement. We'll try that a few more times. So stepping the same foot forward all the time. As you bend into the front knee, lean the weight there, and on the out breath, push it away and come to stand. Can we still improve? We'll take another step forward, bending the knee. Lean in, embrace it in a core, and then perhaps stepping back. We will change that a little. So let's step the foot forward, leaning in. Instead of stepping back, stepping into a tree pose. Your big toe might be on the floor or not. Your foot is somewhere above or below the knee joint. The hands might stay here, and even if you wobble getting into here, you can always adjust and be playful. An option to keep your hands to touch today, perhaps lifting them up towards the sky or the ceiling. If this is not for your shoulders, of course, can you create branches, which is the same for me. Finding a steady gazing point, maybe lifting the gaze if you want to challenge. Or if you're terribly bored, you might close your eyes. Let's land the feet back next to each other and release the arms down. Finding a little movement of ease that takes you back to the front side end of your mat, where your feet again align in a comfortable hip distance. And I'm catching myself right now rocking a bit over the feet to feel the ground again underneath. Let's bring the hands back into the hips. Shifting weight lightly to the right. The breath in to raise the left knee. Then extending the leg back and out to the hip distance, big toe touching the floor, before you might start to land all the way onto the foot and bending gently into your front knee. Your feet will start drawing again towards each other. And you might choose to raise your arms up, completing a warrior one. Your gaze might travel there too, and the same option here, palms separate or touching. Keep your foundation strong so that you can actually lift up from there. Next, out breath, draw your hands down to heart center. Thumbs might lightly attach again to the sternum. The first round will be better than the first round on the other side. Yet we will try and maintain more stability. A breath in to lean into the front foot. A breath out to step it back. I can still see some of you swaying and dancing. Looks beautiful. Let's step the foot forward again. Try once more. Bend into the front knee, lean the weight there. And a breath out to push you off the floor, back towards standing. We'll go again. Step the foot forward, take your time, land on the foot, bend the knee, then lean the weight forward, and on the out breath, aiming with as little movement as possible to step back. One more just like that. Taking a step forward, bending the knee, leaning in, and a breath out to push back. Next one is our last one, and you now know the difference of that. As you stand forward, lean in, push the floor away, and find a tree shape. Only thing to consider, placing the foot away from the knee. Start growing your tree, big toe on the floor or not. Find your steady gazing point. Perhaps your arms are lifting. Only option. Perhaps you prefer branches, or even keeping your hands down low. Standing tall, proud as a tree. You might find it challenging to lift your gaze up, or perhaps to even play with closing the eyes. Vrikshasana. We'll slowly release the shape by landing on the feet, releasing the arms. And doing the same here, we'll just take some gentle steps forward to realign into the body, to land back on our feet. I would ask you to turn to face the long side end of the mat now, and take your right foot forward, your left foot back. With the left foot back, the heel is slightly further turned out, and we're taking a bend into the front knee. Now we've leaned into our thigh before, and I suggest to do the same here, only now with the forearm. So the right forearm might rest onto the middle of your thigh. The other hand could be in the side of the waist. And using your thigh bone as you push down into it while you push forward to your knee, and roll the top shoulder back. You might like to stay exactly here, feel into the length, or you could choose to extend the upper arm over the head for the extended version of the side angle, Utthita Parsvakonasana. Palm of the hand might be facing down here, and you could feel the length down to the outer edge of the foot. Let your upper arm swing down as it was extended. Bring the hand to the side of the waist. If you would like to use a block, take it underneath your right hand, and you might then drag the foot in for a half moon, meaning you could lift the foot off the floor if that feels right. Turn your toes open, stack your hips, and then your shoulders. Your gaze might remain down, you could stay right here, or if you're breathing, you might even extend your left arm. Take your block, land back onto your 2 feet. Change the block over to place it to the other side of the mat and swivel your feet around too. The left toe is facing the short side, the right heel a bit out towards the back end of the mat. Then taking a bend into the front knee. I'm widening my stance here a little bit. Before you could place your left forearm down, palm of the hand facing up. When you place it down, take it to the middle of your thigh. Push down into the thigh and forward towards your knee. The other hand might be in your waist, and you might feel that action of pushing down and forward reflected in the shoulder opening further. Extra option, extending the arm over the head. If you do, have the palm of the hand again facing downward. Feeling length from the fingertips to the grounded outer edge of the back foot. You might then swing your upper arm down, bring it back into your side. Reach with your left hand towards the block. You might drag the back foot in a little. You could even take it off the floor and attempt another half moon as you turn your toes open, your hips, your shoulders, keep the gaze down, and only if for you extending your arm. You can leave the block where it is as you land again in a wider stance on your mat, releasing your arms and turning your feet so the outer edges of the feet are now parallel. Doesn't matter which way you're facing right now, take a deep breath in, use your feet to grow yourself tall. Then soften your knees and let the hands slide down the outside of your legs into wide-legged forward fold. Your hands can stay on the legs, on the ankle, on your feet, if that is comfortable for you, and start to lean a little bit forward in towards your toes while your heels stay grounded. If you're holding on loosely like myself, you could also lift your shoulders back into the shoulder socket. To me, this makes a major difference because it realigns the spine. See for yourself what it feels like. Taking a few deeper out breaths while you're resting in this pose. When you next inhale, could you bring your fingertips to the ground and just lengthen your spine forward? For the out breath, bring the hands down and your knees down onto the floor. You can sit in any shape or form facing your mat or looking in the other direction, your choice. Extending your legs out in front. I will grab my blanket again and use that as a light sitting support. Roll up and on your mat. It might be useful here as well. Bending your knees, flexing your feet. Use the fingertips into the ground as you breathe in. And with the exhale, get a wiggle on or lean directly forward as you move towards the seated forward fold now. Same here, leave your shoulders at ease, the hands resting on the legs on the mat, wherever you find them comfortable. But keep your toes drawing up towards the ceiling. You might stay here quite static and just surrender to the shape. Alternatively, there could be mini lengthening movements on the in-breath in your back And then the out breath, a deeper release towards this point. It is your choice whether you prefer the classical stillness or the subtlety of a functional movement to be added to this form. Shoulders remain easy. Few more breaths. Then an inhale as you lift about halfway up. An out breath to walk the hands back and perhaps let the legs extend completely. If you have a spare piece of wall near you, please bring the short side end of your mat to the wall. If you don't, like myself, you can practice this free lying on the floor, but then you might need one of your blocks. So we will practice at first lying on the mat, but if you have a wall nearby, be on that wall already preparing yourself for our inversion today. We will continue our practice lying down and simply lying down over the full length of the mat. Stepping both feet down onto the floor. Walking the feet up very gently, no force, no measuring of fingertips, just stepping the feet up a bit closer to the buttocks. If you're using a light cushioning underneath like myself, please leave the shoulders free, just the head on a thin cushion. Toes of your feet are turned forward and arms along the sides of the body. We breathe in to flatten the spine with a pelvic tilt. And we're breathing out to squeeze the hips up slowly, just a little perhaps. Inhale. And then exhale, rolling the spine back down. Take a full breath here after you've landed. We'll take it like this one more time. The breath in to tilt to flatten your back. The breath out to squeeze your bottom up. Perhaps it rises a little bit more. The in-breath to stay. The out-breath to roll the spine back down onto the mat. Again, we stay here for a whole breath. And we're repeating the same way once more. Tilting the pelvis, breathing in. Squeezing the bottom up, breathing out. Perhaps you're holding here and taking your tailbone a bit up towards your knee, increasing perhaps the space here in the front of the body. If you feel you need extra support, you could place a block now underneath the sacrum. If you can hold here, keep drawing your tailbone up towards the back of your knee. You can just choose to hold as is, or you could hold, breathe in to raise the fingertips to the ceiling, and out to draw the hands down onto the floor behind the back. Keep lifting through the hips though as you're extending into the bridge. An inhale to raise fingertips back to the ceiling. An out breath to release the arms along the sides. And if you're still without support, walk the shoulders under and perhaps interlace your hands, lengthening your arms down onto the floor. Reminder, these are only options. Very first variation is extremely suitable. Releasing your hands out from underneath and a slow out breath to roll the spine down onto the mat. Pause here. Let your feet step just a little bit further away from you. Let your arms open out to either side. You may keep your feet this wide apart, or you could choose to meet your feet together, touching knees. As you might roll your hips to the left when you breathe in, the knees might roll lightly to the right. On your out breath, centering the head and the knees. And on the in breath, changing sides. Out breath, drawing to the center, and we'll keep that flowing for a little while. A twist. There's the option of turning head, maybe head and legs move together or in opposite directions even. See what feels right for you, take your modification. When you next feel your balance left and right side, center yourself again. Leave arms open and bring your feet into prayer position by opening the knees out into reclined butterfly, Supta Baddha. We won't stay here for too long. Perhaps it is possible to relax into the stretchy sensation. You might then guide or lift your knees up, bring your feet back onto the ground. This is the moment where you could change to the wall. I will demonstrate what happens on the wall. So if you have the short side end of your mat near the wall, sit your hips there too. And then roll onto your back for legs up the wall point, taking your feet up the wall or the window frame in this case. You could then let your arms just drop out to the side. So that's for those of you who have that piece of wall. For the others, you might stay on your mat, take your block, place your feet down, lift your hips up, and choose a flat halfway up block underneath your sacrum. You could then keep a hold of the block, just making sure it doesn't tilt, and lifting your feet off the floor. If you now find your block is wobbly, bring your feet back down and adjust it. In the end, you might even extend your legs up too. If you don't need to hold onto the block, do what everyone does with legs up the wall and let your arms fall out. I'm hoping for these shapes to be as effortless as they can be. And then stay here for a little while. You could choose to play with your toes or feet, but sometimes it is just lovely to be. See if it is possible for you to drop into the stillness of the Paritakarani, or legs up the wall pose, or fountain of youth. Your hands open, just like they were in the open prayer position when we started in child's pose. The trust that you show with your hands looking upwards. That it's safe to give, safe to receive. It's almost like you're trusting, you're allowing to believe. It's okay to be open. When we bring faith or shraddha into our life, we can make greater leaps, perhaps receive greater blessings, as they show up in all sorts of forms. Perhaps allow yourself to receive what is there for you in this shape, in this moment. For those of you lying over a block, take a hold of the block again. Bend your knees slightly in towards the chest, and you might pause there for a while. For those of you with legs up the wall, you might also bend your knees into the chest and pause, noticing how the center of gravity changes, how flow in the body realigns. If you're on a block, step the feet down, lift your hips up, remove the block and lower slowly. If you're on the wall, roll over onto your side, pause for a couple of breaths. And I'd love you all to transition, if available, straight into relaxation pose or Shavasana. So if you were on the wall, perhaps wiggle yourself back onto the mat with as little disturbance as is possible. As we come to the mat, if you do have two blocks or cushions, you might rest them on either side of the mat. Then take a lie down, as we usually do for relaxation. Whether it's a constructive rest where the knees are touching, or a Shavasana where the legs are long, or you're using a bolster, that's up to you. But you might use your blocks here or cushions on either side. I've worked out that my blocks are best off at the middle height. I place them underneath my arms so I can bring Anjali Mudra right to my chest. But it's absolutely no effort. So my arms are rested on the support, the hands touching together in front of the chest. Yet, if any of you feel very uncomfortable doing so, of course, you can lie in a normal Shavasana and ignore the mudra, or perhaps rather visualize it. As you feel the palms of your hands touching, whether they are or you imagine it, take in the sensations that you're feeling between the hands and the gesture as a whole. The breath might gently be directed where your hands are resting to heart center. You might even see this space as the center of your being. And take a few breaths just to integrate the unity that might arise naturally. You might choose to explore a few of the complementary polarities within yourself, sensing them merging as a seamless unity. You might focus first on the right side of your body, your breath within your right nostril. There might be a sense of greater warmth and vitality through the entire right side of your body. Now bring your awareness across to the left side of the body and naturally focusing then on the breath through the left nostril. You might sense greater refreshment and ease throughout the entire left side of your body. Now change your awareness to the planes of contact where your palms meet. Allow your awareness to encompass both sides of your body evenly, feeling a sense perhaps of integration and harmony. Next, bring awareness to your right hand as a symbol of wisdom, the sum total of understanding and clarity that you have gained along your spiritual journey. Now bring awareness to your left hand as a symbol of compassion, the ability to see that we all share a common journey towards awakening. For a few breaths, sense again the palms of contact, experiencing the integration of wisdom and compassion, knowing that only through their unity can you experience complete awakening. You might, for the next few breaths, sense the plane of contact where your palms meet and experience the one learning, the devotee, and the divine or the universe united seamlessly. Resting in complete oneness with the all-encompassing universe, whose light is the source and essence of all things. You might even silently repeat after me, through the integration of all polarities, I experience my very essence as unity. Through the integration of all polarities, I experience my very essence as unity. Through the integration of all polarities, I experience my very essence as unity. You might keep this connection in your mind while you could release your mudra in front of the chest if you're still holding it. Release the support from underneath your arm and let arms come to rest on either side of you. Staying with that sense of wholeness and unity. You might then start to deepen your breathing, return to gentle movement, or even stretch. Eventually rolling to your side or rising over the front of your body to join me in a seated form of your choice. And as is the nature of our class, I suggest to bring the hands together again in Anjali Mudra in front of the chest, thumb slightly touching the sternum. As we are whole and complete, so is everyone else. We acknowledge the spark that we hold and unite with within ourselves with a light bow towards each other. Namaste.